Hey guys, welcome back to Flyer C. Joe's Workshop. Working on a wing today that is a Bill Hemple 50% edge that I owned a few years ago and had a prop come off and put a nice big hole in the bottom of the wing. So trying to figure out how to get glue to stick to this spongy foam. Well, every time I've tried white glues, Gorilla Glues, it just isn't giving me the bond. And we also got a pretty large chunk missing. So what we've done is cut the covering. Now, one of the big things that people do is you got to be careful whenever you're cutting your covering to lift it back and then cut. You do not want to accidentally cut into your balsa, because if I cut right here, even though it's not all the way through the balsa, that is going to be a break point. So when you're cutting the covering to do a repair, please make sure that you're not cutting into the wood. So what we're gonna do with this spongy foam is we're just gonna use some great stuff, gaps and cracks. This is gonna fill this pocket up. We're gonna put a section through here, a section through here, section over here, so that when we cut the skin out, that we can actually fix this. Next, we're going to chop off the top of that. And take a very sharp chisel. Clean this up back down to the sheeting. That's going to work perfect. So there's a piece of 3/16 balsa here. Okay, so normally I wouldn't use something that's 3/16 thick, but got a lot of fill in here. I'm hoping to leave this way high. Well, the question is Joe, you're on an opposite curve. That thing's not going to curve and it's not going to bend. Super cool trick that I learned a long time ago is straight ammonia. Super cool trick. Use straight ammonia, all-purpose cleaner, crystal clear. It stinks really bad, so I actually do this outside. Then I'm going to let it soak for a few minutes and then it'll start to shape. And then I will actually cut it down into the balsa. You want to just soak that wood as much as possible and then just let it sit for a minute. So now it's been sitting a little while, it's starting to soak in. The nice part with the ammonia is as it starts to dry is where it starts to become flexible. That is 3/16 balsa that is malleable and is not cracking. So you just got to be careful. The reason this works over water is when I've soaked it in water, I've steamed it in the past, it actually makes balsa wood shrink. Ammonia, in all my testing, will let it become flexible so that I can shape it to something. And then when it dries, it almost becomes a little harder, but it does not shrink. So again, keep working it to the shape that you want. Sometimes I'll add just a little bit of heat to it so that it really soaks down in. You're not trying to dry it out, but you're trying to just work it to the shape of the wing. My goal here is I will shape this piece of wood so that I'm not ruining the shape of the wing before I cut it in there. So I will work this until when I set it on here, it needs to set nice and flat. Then I will cut with a razor knife and drop it down in. That way we're not ruining the shape. If this is a hollow, an old wing with wood ribs, newing with wood ribs. This is a way that you can shape it before you patch it. Getting close, getting really close there. See how nice and spongy it starts to get, especially when you're working it. Ammonia is such a cool trick. You know, guys, one of my things is I love giving credit where I've learned these tricks. The ammonia one, I don't know where this one came from. I've kind of been in and around the woodworking world my whole life, and I don't know. I really do wish I remembered where the ammonia trick came from. So if you're that friend watching and you're the one that taught me this, please comment, because thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The ammonia has been such a cool trick. Yeah, we're really close here. So that way I'm not distorting anything. So now if you were gonna leave this for a day or something, you could even set some tape on this, tape it on, let it finish drying to that shape. I'm very happy with that right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that where I want to scribe it in. Okay, next we're going to lay down a piece of tape just on one edge. We're going to set this right where we want it. We're going to double check that it's nice and square still. It's literally dry, but because I've worked it with the ammonia, it's now holding to shape. So I'm just going to set that right where I want it. This first little scribe line, I am just barely scratching it, because when you're cutting over top of a different direction balsa, it's going to try to chase that blade away. And that's also why I like to use the tape. So lightly cut through it, and take my X-Acto little saw here and just slowly work this down in here. Okay, now Now you can see that nice little cut in. I'm going to finish cutting the balsa. In there. Lay our next tape line. Let's see where that next one's going to come right there. There. Okay, now if we're really careful, we should be able to lightly pop out slowly the old balsa and not destroy the foam that we've done. Nice and sharp chisel. Just going to slowly shape it. Okay, we have all the balsa wood popped off the foam here. Little bit of foam came off with it, but not too bad. We're just going to lightly shape down this spray foam a little bit to the height of the white foam. And let's see how that fits. Oops. Perfect fit. Just gonna grab some wood glue and some Gorilla Glue and warm the Gorilla Glue up so that it'll be nice and thin for us. And we should be able to, as you see, snap that part right in there. That tape also really helps to see where you're at. Just kind of helps you. So we're going to purposely leave that high so that when we sand it down, we're not having to add too much balsa in there. Trying to get a 1/16 piece and not use a bunch of putty on the top on a repair like this would be very difficult. So, okay, we let it set up for quite a while. We've been warming our glue. This should be dry now. Because I didn't know how long until I would get back to this, I put the part into the hole so that it would keep its shape. In case I had to come back in a day from now or whatever, you can see how tight we have that fitment. Just going to want to push up and down a little bit as you're working that back out of there. Okay, we did vacuum all the junk out. You can see there's big pockets and things, and it's okay. So we've warmed up our Gorilla Glue. Just need our water and our wood glue. So we're going to very quickly put a nice bead of wood glue. We're going to put our Gorilla Glue in here. We have some foam over here that's pretty popped. We're going to put just a little bit of Gorilla Glue in there. Okay, now I'm going to put just a little bit on the back side of this. You can use a playing card to squeegee it around. You can. I just like the foam brushes. Nice thin coat here. Check that we still have wood glue where we want it. We do. Maybe want a little bit more over here. Shove that up into that corner again. And slowly just work it right back down into that pocket. once I check that all the wood glue is kind of cleaned off here, and making sure I'm set down in nice, grab some alcohol, and we'll clean off the covering. Make sure I don't leave any fingerprints on that covering. Right there. All right, you can see how that's still just high right through there. We're a good 1/16. Right here in this corner where the foam was kind of crushed, we did push it down in there purposely. That's going to work great. You can actually see little tiny bubbles generating here. That's the Gorilla Glue doing its job. Awesome. Okay, the next day, did a big oops. I put a weight here with a piece of wood, but the Gorilla Glue really expands more than the Elmer's style that I used to use, but they don't make it anymore. So next I gotta just check how thick that is, and if I don't have more than a 1/16, then I'm gonna have to start over. So next you're gonna put tape all the way back around this, so that when you're sanding this flush, you're not damaging your covering or the other wood, so that you can get it to finish in really nice. Start on that next. So one of the things I've learned in the past is I really like the frog tape or the dark, not all blue tapes are the same, but the frog tape is pretty consistent. What I'm doing is I'm not putting it right up against the edge. I'm leaving a little bit of a gap so that I can see that. Okay. Now, let's find a little scrap of our wood from yesterday. Yes, I still have a little more. It's pretty thin on the 1/16, but I think we're gonna be safe here. So, really fresh new sandpaper, 80 grit. Just so you're not having to push super hard. Now I will not final sand this and cover this for a few days, because it does need to wick out the moisture still. I want to go to where I'm just lightly scratching that tape. See how right here it's not touching the tape. So gotta keep going just a little bit, trying to get that shape to match. Now we just quickly vacuumed up in here. Check that again. Feels really good. We're going to peel that tape off of here so that it doesn't hurt the covering anymore, because I think we're just going to go ahead and patch the covering, but that's not up to me. I'm going to give this wing back to my buddy here and let him cover it, or maybe I'll help teach him how to cover it. He's pretty good at covering, but airplane while I had it. We tested out the ZDZ 250 on it for a while. It was a great test bed for that. Then I put my 3W275 back on it to test a bunch of different props. Some Fiella props against the Bill Hemple props, against the Bali props. It was a really fun test bed. Prop bolts came a little on the loose side and it exploded. Luckily I got up out of the hover. Didn't crash the airplane, just shook it really hard and put a hole in it. So sand this off the final flush here, and I am very happy with that repair. You can definitely see the place that it's a cavity to the spot that I filled in, so kind of cool. Hey guys, welcome back to the workshop. It's taken a few days, but the moisture's back down, so we gave her the final sanding. She should be ready to go home and get covered up. So hopefully you guys are liking the content here. Hopefully this is helping you guys. Sorry this is a really long video, but tried to leave in all the little details that I know people would ask. But if there's something I missed, please comment. We would love to answer you guys' questions. Please like and subscribe, and please share. We appreciate you guys' help. Thank you very much.